It's Time Warner Cable's local edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. Our guest, Tom Brewer, member of the Torrance City Council. And sir, I want to speak with you about taxing and taxing authority. As you know, in 1978, the voters passed Proposition 13, which requires that any taxes be passed by a 2/3 vote. There have been some reforms with school bond. You can drop to 55%. But we now know there are rumblings to change the threshold overall to potentially 55%, be it for school overhead or just generally. What do you think?
Yeah, I think one of the things we've heard lately from the governor's office in Sacramento is that they want to change the way taxes are passed, and you're right. They want to give more local control to the cities on taxing authority too. I think it's a good idea to drop it down to 55%.
Which is actually pretty remarkable to hear you say that, because you have told me that you are part of the Republican Central Committee.
Yes.
And the Republican Party has been reticent to change that formula. It's very interesting because general taxes can be passed under one threshold, but specific taxes are passed under a different threshold.
There are so many ways that we have to pass taxes.
Right.
There's Prop 218 that requires, you have to have the people approve your authority to raise taxes.
Right.
And so it is a challenge to look at how many ways we have for passing taxes.
And it's so interesting also when you look at the voters and their mood when it comes to tax increases. In November, as you know, the voters were very generous. They passed Prop 30 with over 55% of the vote. They passed Prop 39, which closed some loopholes. Yet in Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, there was a measure in March to increase the sales tax, failed. Only got 45% of the vote. When LA, if I may, had voted 60% in favor of Prop 30, which also increased sales tax.
I think what it really comes down to is your faith in your local leadership. And I think what really happened in Los Angeles was they just didn't feel that they needed to have that tax increase. And since that time, there's been some rumblings that the city might have $100 million more than they had before, which closes that deficit by half.
Right.
I think if you have a compelling reason and people believe you, I think they're more willing to give you that increase.
So do you believe that in the final analysis, the two parties can come together on the issue of lowering the threshold to pass taxes at some level? I mean, arguably the Democrats in Sacramento may not even need Republican votes, but I do get a sense that this could be a bipartisan issue.
I really think that nationally, locally, and statewide, that we do have to have some compromise between the parties. You can't just sit there and say this is the way it's going to be.
It is interesting if you think about it. I mean, a 2/3 supermajority, and it at some level feels anti-democratic. We are a 50% plus one democracy. Back to LA County, they had an initiative on the ballot in November to extend, you're in LA County, extend the sales tax increase for transportation projects. Got 66.12% of the vote. Failed.
Yes.
It needed a 2/3. And so where do we go from here on this? I mean, do local leaders tell Sacramento, please let us tax it ourselves at 55%?
I think they do. I mean, when we go up and talk to Sacramento, we tell them what we think. I hope they hear what we have to say. I think our local elected officials, my local elected officials, probably do hear what I say. But once you get up with 120 people, it's hard enough with 1 out of 7. I have 7 on my council. I'm 1 out of 7. If you can imagine being 1 of 120, it's a lot harder to get things done.
It's tricky, and it should be interesting to see if this goes anywhere. Governor Brown has said he's looked at whether we should change the formula in light of redevelopment's elimination, so stay tuned on that one.
Yes.
His name is Tom Brewer, member of the Torrance City Council. My name is Brad Pomerance. Thank you so much for watching Time Warner Cable's local edition.